Every working day of the year, in courts all over the world, hundreds of thousands of people swear that they will tell the truth, and they immediately follow that up with a lie. The lie is expressed openly to everyone in the courtroom. It is, in fact, required by the court, yet nothing is ever done to challenge such an unfair requirement before a person can give testimony. When I refused to tell the lie in a recent court appearance, I was denied the right to speak in my own defense, and I was found guilty as a result. So, what is the lie? Most of us have heard the lie many times before, and yet the mere fact that we have never questioned it is powerful testimony to just how little thought we give to the things we say. Day after day, we express things under pressure from others, with scant regard for how genuinely we ourselves believe what we are saying. You see, the lie I am talking about is the lie that you are going to tell the whole truth when you stand before the court as a witness. Think about what it would take for you to tell the whole truth. Can you honestly say that such a thing is even possible? Now, I know that the phrase the whole truth can be used to contrast a half-truth, such as when you say that someone hit you, but fail to state that it started with you hitting them. We say that such a person has not told the whole truth. That final piece of information, that you were the one who started the fight, can be vital in understanding the bigger picture. But in a courtroom, where you have already stated that you will tell the truth, the whole purpose of cross-examination is to draw out relevant information which may have been left out of your testimony. Both the prosecution and the defense are trained to do exactly that, in an effort to get closer to the whole truth. Sad reality is that outright lies are told almost constantly in the process. Empty promises about telling the whole truth have done little to stop that from happening. Yet penalties for perjury of any sort in courts of law are relatively rare. I have never heard of a court convicting anyone of perjury just for having left some pertinent detail out of their testimony. The courts never expect to learn the whole truth, not even after cross-examination. So why do they demand that every witness do what the entire court has never been able to do, and that is to provide the court with the absolute whole truth? Why is it not good enough that witnesses agree to tell what little of the truth they know, or, more practically, what little of the truth the court is prepared to hear? You see, after promising that they will tell the whole truth, witnesses are almost immediately and repeatedly told to stop what they are saying and to give shorter or one-word answers to the questions they are asked. The court does not want to know the whole truth. It is only interested in various bits and pieces that it deems to be relevant, and it becomes the job of the professionals to put those bits and pieces together from several different witnesses to form convincing submissions for the judges. Now, dishonesty may cause all parties to hide some details, but human fallibility is probably an even bigger factor in limiting the court's knowledge. Does anyone know the whole truth? And how much of the whole truth does the court really want to hear anyway? I explained to the judge in my case that I would do what I could to tell the truth in my testimony, but that I did not know the whole truth. I added that the court did not want to know most of what I had to say anyway, whether it was true or not. The judge was quick to agree. "You are quite right," she said. "I do not want to hear the whole truth, only bits that are relevant. But if you refuse to say that you are going to tell the whole truth, I cannot let you testify. Do you understand what I'm saying?" Yeah, sure, I understood. But I said the obvious. It would be dishonest to say that I will tell the whole truth when the court didn't even want to hear the whole truth. "Well, that's the way we do it. was the best that she could offer me. You must promise to tell the whole truth, or you will not be allowed to testify in my court. I will give you 10 minutes to think that over. That was it, and so when the 10 minutes were up, the case proceeded without me being able to testify. I lost and was hit with damages and costs of more than $250,000. The woman who won the suit against me immediately started another action, possibly spurred on by the knowledge that I would not be able to defend myself in her next action either, unless I was willing to tell what I know is a lie in order to earn the right to be heard. Is it fair? Of course not. But, like the judge said, that is the way they do it. In Australia, in America, in the UK, and in just about every other Western country in the world. An even greater irony is the fact that most of these courts ask people to put their hand on the Bible or some other holy book when telling this lie in an effort to sanctify such hypocrisy. How many Christians are even aware that Jesus Christ told his followers not to make such oaths in courts of law? Let your yes be yes and your no be no, he demanded of his followers. Surely, if we professing Christians had been more sensitive to this demand from Jesus from the start, we would not have found ourselves as participants in a dilemma that forces people to tell what is actually a lie in order to be heard in court testimonies around the world. There was a time when one did not even have the option of affirming rather than swearing that they would tell the truth when appearing in a court. Hundreds of Quakers in the 17th century went to jail for refusing to take such an oath before the law was changed there. In 1678, William Braine was accused of stealing a horse from a Quaker, Ambrose Galloway. Ambrose, being a Quaker, would not, for conscience' sake, as he said it, swear, and so he could give no testimony. The court directed the jury to find Braine not guilty for want of evidence, but Ambrose was jailed as a concealer of a felony for refusing to take an oath. Quakers are some of the very few religious people in the world today who refuse to take an oath in obedience to what Jesus demanded of his disciples when he said, "Swear not at all, neither by heaven, for it is God's throne, nor by the earth, for it is his footstool, but let your communication be yea, yea, nay, nay. For whatsoever is more than these comes of evil." It was not until 1695 that the law was changed in England, allowing Quakers to affirm that they were telling the truth rather than swearing. They were allowed to say, "I declare in the presence of Almighty God the truth in what I say." There was, at that time, no mention of the so-called whole truth. Michael Tate, who was a Labour senator for Tasmania for 15 years, from 1978 to 1993, and Minister for Justice from 1987 to 1993, refused to swear an oath because of his Christian beliefs. In 1984, when Queensland Premier Joe Bjelke-Petersen accused him of being an atheist because he did not make an oath, he said, "Joe's theology is wrong and his understanding of the scriptures defective. It is quite clear from St. Matthew's Sermon on the Mount, chapter 5, verses 33 to 37, that Christians should not invoke an oath to bolster their truthfulness. A plain yes or no is all that is required of a Christian. I refuse to take the oath precisely because of my understanding of that injunction." Michael Tate is also an ordained Catholic priest. What Jesus was teaching is that honest people do not have to make a big song and dance about telling the truth. They just tell it, day in and day out. If it takes pious injunctions to make someone tell the truth, then you can be sure that you are dealing with someone who, in their day-to-day dealings, cannot be trusted. Now, at this same trial, in which I was not allowed to testify, a member of the media approached me to do an interview. repeatedly swearing that he was not going to use the interview in any way to hurt me. I laughed and asked him if he was aware that people who swear to God or swear on their mother's grave and go through any similar contortions to get others to believe them actually betray themselves as being dishonest from the outset. I told him that if he wanted to be more successful with his deceptions, for they were deceptions, as evidenced by what he did later, he would leave out all the oaths with which he prefaced many of his empty promises. Certainly, Jesus knew enough about the real world not to be confounded by the religious piety that accompanies so much devilment in the world. This widespread practice of forcing people to lie before they can be heard in courts of law reflects many deeper problems in the system as a whole. Almost always, it is the person with the most money who will win. The shenanigans of Donald Trump over the past few years is classic evidence of that. His team of lawyers have ducked and weaved through a barrage of legal actions, and each time he comes out virtually unscathed. Not because he is innocent, but because the most highly paid lawyers are always the ones who know how to beat the system through endless technicalities. So, what do we do about this sad state of affairs? For me, at nearly 80 years of age, there is a higher court and a much more powerful judge to whom I expect to appeal. I have been instructed by my heavenly advocate to not put my faith in the systems of man, with their many injustices and inconsistencies. True justice will only come when Jesus returns and puts things right in this badly skewed world, and I don't think that event is very far off. So in him I rest my case, and I urge others to do the same. God bless you, and thank you for listening.